morning. Good morning, people of the boxing world, blues musicians, worldwide hip hop artists. Yes, Belfast boxing and blues, or Belfast blues and boxing, whatever works, whichever sounds better. I will mix it up until we until we know until we know. So yeah, it's early in the day. You if this comes out right, you'll get to see me from when I've just been awake for about 15, 20 minutes. My first coffee of the day here. I've had a cup of tea, I've had a cigarette, I've got some boxing nutrition, I've watched and listened to some online commentary, and it was good. And yeah, you'll probably see within the next 5, 10 minutes I will spring to life. I had better spring to life, otherwise, this is going to be uh, rubbish. It's going to be rubbish. So, like, what's going on, guys, in the boxing world? What are the main topics of discussion? What do we have to speak on? We have uh, we have AJ and Ghana coming up very soon, March the 8th, isn't it? What's that? Two weeks? Yeah, not the Saturday, but the Saturday after, over in Saudi with my main man, Turkey Al Sheikh, Turkey Al Sheikh, His Excellency, who's getting these fights done, working behind the scenes to make sure everything comes to fruition. That's actually on a Friday night, so that'll be good. I mean, we like this about the Saudi fights, don't we? That we can, here in the UK, we don't have to stay awake to 5, 6 o'clock. I didn't sleep until about 7, half 7 this morning. Yeah, after having to readjust from staying up to watch a fight. This is why I don't stay up to watch the fights anymore. I don't have it in me. At one point, I did. My eager younger years as a boxing fan, I wanted to see every single fight, and I loved it. And I did enjoy that one the other night, but I can't do that every weekend. I'm not I'm not a kid no more. I'm not a kid, mom. I'm getting old, mom. So like, I want to do a wee bit today about Carl Frampton. I want to run through his pro career and pick out a few of the more standout fights and have a wee chat about them. And if you watch these at all, you know I'm a big Carl Frampton fan. Being a Belfast resident, I think I would have been a fan of him anyway. Even if I was from like Manchester and I like Scott Quigg. Maybe not, maybe not. But I do like Frampton. I like him a lot. So let's hang on. I'm just sort of retrieving my head from the back passage here, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So what else went on now? We have Taylor Catterall. Yeah, so we had the press conferences and stuff last week. There will continue, I would say, to be news about that every week. There'll be articles, there'll be conjecture, and there'll be little quotes here and there. Sam Jones is going to be involved all the way, so there'll be stuff to be said. And you know how it is. I mean, they keep us reminded. Make sure these things don't slip out of our minds too easy. And so, I mean, it'll be interesting to check in all along the way, and we hope and pray that there will be no injuries or anything like that. I'm sure there won't be anything that'll get in the road of this one. AJ and Ghana, I suppose the closer it gets, and it is only 2 weeks away, not even. You have to you sort of start envisaging it a little bit more. As a reality, as an actuality, yes. And you must you must then try and work out what you think's gonna how will this fight actually look, you know. Um, and so you have to put a bit more thought into your prediction or your ideas about the fight. So I mean, probably this is the part in the broadcast where Richie Woodall and Barry Jones get in the ring, and Woodall sort of going, "You're gonna throw her right in the left," and Barry Jones would go like this, yeah, yeah, and they would have a little push and a pull. We would get to see what's going on. I don't really know what this fight's gonna look like. I think Joshua will look to box a bit more. Yeah, if I had to guess, let's say, I think Joshua's gonna try and use this as a little something of an exhibition of his boxing skills, but it's important for him to do that effectively and to make sure that he gets the job done first and foremost. But this could maybe be a good chance for him to show that this is what I can do, because I do think that there's a part of that in Joshua that maybe he has something of a chip on his shoulder where he feels that people have not written him off, but people don't give him the credit that he's due for how much he's learned as a fighter. Because obviously the talking points have been other things, and we've got wrapped up in that, and we've neglected to really address, what it is that Joshua can do as a fighter in terms of skills, and his ring IQ, which has developed and stuff like that. So there could be a bit of that. And Ghana, I suppose you have to look at the Fury performance and think, yeah, probably he'll go to do something different. You can't really imagine Ngannou fighting off the back foot and letting Joshua come to him and taking us. He's an aggressive guy. He's used to being the aggressor. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. It could be a good chance for Joshua to fight off the back foot, to use his movement. Joshua has good legs, like he has good footwork, and to really serve up his combinations. You know, what is it they call the check hook? Little moves like that. Moving away and catching them with the check hook and stuff like that. Nice straight 1-2s. Some nice fundamental straight stuff, but just timed nicely, just to show the effectiveness there. Crisp shots. Not getting overly concerned with power or trying to stop him too early. Just look good, just catch him. You know what I mean? Making him miss, making him pay. Little things like that. But of course, you must make allowance for the fact that Ngannou will have a say in this. It won't be all Joshua's own way. And Ngannou's going to push the fight. He's going to come to fight, and he's showing that he's no slouch when it comes to, he seems to have a fair grip on the boxing game. And do you know what I think was quite surprising was I mean, seeing the build up to the Ngannou Fury fight. I'd seen a few clips of him on the pads with Mike Tyson, and I'll tell you what my gripe was with that too. I don't want to get into a whole negative spiel here, but they brought in Mike Tyson to train him. Right, and I shouldn't get gripey over this, but I'm gonna express myself, truly, rather than just completely hide it and play the company man. So Mike Tyson apparently is training Francis Ngannou for this Fury fight. Yeah, now that was a nice story, wasn't it? And they did a little podcast. They did an interview together and stuff, and you know, it looked great. It was a good move. Yeah, I mean that's easy to see that stuff, isn't it? Like, I think we have to be careful too. Like I say, you don't want to get too caught up in that type of thing and let it sort of distract you from trying to work out what's going on with the fights. We want to think about the business side of things, and if you take a more impartial view of it, and try not to get into a bitterness, let that be a channel for your bitterness, and so you go, oh right, well this is a business and this is what they done, and okay, right, well I suppose that was a good idea. But in actuality, Mike Tyson might have done a bit of stuff on the pads with Ngannou. You might have done, extensive work with him. We don't really know. But what we did come to find out was that Dewey Cooper the third, maybe I think, big guy with the dreadlocks from the Mayweather boxing gym and the Mayweather boxing channel and all of that stuff. That he was his trainer. Yeah, really. So that was a nice little story what they had going there with Tyson and stuff, and it made for some good content and it made for a good build up. But this Cooper guy done a pretty good job with him. But yeah, well, I had watched some when I used to see some clips of Ngannou hitting the pads and stuff. I was going to myself, "Oh Jesus, this isn't looking good." And I watched some of his fights in the UFC, and I thought, yeah, do you know what? If you actually watch all of his how all of his fights finished, the ones that he won, uh, it's not like he was completely decimating all of these guys. Some of them he was knocking over with a punch to nothing. It was like, all right, so. But like I say, if for the benefit of the promotion, it's common sense really. You're going to make sure that the clips that are seen more frequently are the ones that sell the fight. So that is what it is. And you do see guys commenting on YouTube and stuff, and like I've said before, a lot of these guys are really intelligent and stuff like this. And I'm not trying to say that, oh, I know more than them or something just because I'm speaking into a camera, because I don't really. A lot of these guys are very well clued in, and you can learn from anybody. But I do see that as a trend, and I had been in that place myself, where suddenly I was privy to more of the business things. I was starting to work that out after studying the sport more and more, and sort of finding out what was going on there. And it was hard for me to take for a while, and then once I started to understand a bit more and have the right attitude surrounding it, then that actually enhanced my appreciation, not only of the sport but all as the fights, but the business end of things and how that works. So a bit of perspective, isn't it? So what else is going on? They'll be announcing a Canelo opponent soon. A lot of different guys in the running for that. I mean, they're talking about Jermall Charlo. That would be unacceptable. I don't think anybody was happy with the Jermall Charlo fight. Why do you want to see him in against Jermall, who hasn't really been active? And Wesley's a title holder at middleweight. Jermall was undisputed champion. I was about to say unanimous champion there, which is not the word I was looking for. Though it kind of would have made sense, wouldn't it? Maybe should have just ran with that. I'm trying to calm down the whole, fixation on getting the right word. That's you can come unstuck doing that sort of thing. I've come to find that. So like, I mean, there's different guys there, fellas that I don't know a lot about, whose names are being uh, bandied about. You have David Morrell. You know what? We're gonna look him up here now. This is why we have what we have here. Now let's find out what's going on here. I thought this guy was from Cuba. I'm not entirely sure. I'm quite sure I've seen him fight once or twice. And yeah, super middle. David Morrell, yeah, Cuban guy. Southpaw, 6'1". Yeah, 78.5 inch reach. It's quite a good reach, isn't it? So out of Santa Clara in Cuba, and he's living in Minneapolis. I'm not sure if this is the right guy that I'm looking for. Wait a second. because okay, this might be this might be the guy. It says something about MMA up there, so I'm not sure yet. Box Pro 10 bouts. Uh, so it says he's picked up the WBA World Super Middleweight Champion. Do you know what? I think I've just got this wrong. But anyway, look, there is a David Morrell out there somewhere. That may or may not be him. And look, he's a Cuban guy. We sort of know what to expect from these Cubans. Saying that, I watched Andy Cruz the other night, and he wasn't the super slick operator, boxer puncher that we come to expect from, say, your Laras, your Rigondeaux, and even Gamboa and stuff. He seemed to. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe I need to see more of him to see that other end of him, because that's what we like to see from our Cubans, isn't it? We like to see that advanced level of boxing that we don't normally get from other countries. So yeah, look, I think that is him. It says he was the WBA champion, but I thought Canelo had all those belts tied up. Then again, it could be, as our good friend Rummy likes to say, the super duper version. So look, you got him. Who else do we have? We have Diego Pacheco. Again, another guy I haven't really got around to watching yet. I will in time, and I'll have a better idea then of what this guy can do. Now, apparently he's quite good. I think I looked at his record before, and he's Diego Pacheco, super middle. So he's out of the United States, and maybe his family's from Mexico or something like that originally. You would think with the name. So yeah, I mean he's a 20 fight 17 KO, so he's a puncher. He's fought Jack Cullen, seems to be a familiar name. He's picked up a few trinkets on his way there. Like the talks around him seems to be positive. Apparently he's quite a good fighter. Jaime Munguia, I was calling him Jamie. Jaime Munguia has I watched a bit of tape on him the other night, and he can really fight. He's an exciting fighter. I think he's really good. And whenever the promotional push sort of gets behind him, if there's a big fight set up, they'll start looking more at some of the good performances that he's had, and people will start to take him a bit more seriously if he can get not just a good name under his belt, but the push as well as that, because he's had a couple of good names. Saddam Ali, I think he's fought Beefy, Liam Smith, and he's beat a lot of good respectable names. I think he was down at middleweight and then come up to super middle, so he's in the mix there. Obviously you have Berlanga there. He had a good showing just the other night. Like I said before, I think he just needs a couple of more wee interim fights. But you know what? There's no harm in mentioning his name in and among with the Canelo sweepstakes, because it just gets his name in the conversation, doesn't it? So they kind of have to do that in a way. I don't think anybody's expecting him to be picked. His name isn't big enough yet. And we want to see him develop well. We don't want to see him throw him in against Canelo for whatever reason. Taking the L. What happens to his career from there? In fact, we're still really rebuilding his reputation. And that one good win at the weekend there has gone some way to doing that. But we need to see more of that. This guy's a good talent. We need to see that built. He seems to have a decent following. I've heard he's into the hip hop scene, the hip hop culture, and this guy is friendly with like Snoop Dogg and Lil Wayne and stuff like that. Those guys like him. Even the way he comes across, he's quite gangsta. I think his daddy was in jail and his mum was on drugs, that whole thing. And so yeah, I would like to see him built more. And obviously, having followed the fight at the weekend so much in the build-up and all, I'm sort of invested in him now as well. And I think it's a good story, especially for the more dedicated boxing fans to follow, because there's intrigue there in the way that he's been moved. Obviously, this 16 first round knockouts, and then he has these 5 things. So there's an element of redemption in his win over the weekend, and still people are writing him off. So if he can build on it again, with a more respectable name and then a good big name, say in his second fight from now, and because I think he's got the goods. Like I say, he's got some connections there in the showbiz world, which is cool, isn't it? So we like to see that stuff. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much all what's going on at the minute. Uh, I'm sure there's other bits and pieces happening. You know what we'll do? Yes, we are going to look at the schedule, providing this website complies. Right, so February 28th, Wednesday. So we're seeing a lot of this, aren't we? These midweek fights. I've heard, that you can go to see a fight nearly any day of the week, somewhere in the world. But for instance, the Teofimo Lopez, who did he fight? Jermaine Ortiz fight there. That was on a Thursday night, so I think maybe was that something to do with the Super Bowl. They did want to be conflicting with that, but it seems to be becoming a more common thing, which could be, maybe it's something to do with we're getting more shows, which can't be a bad thing as long as the quality's there, and we're not having to pay 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different subscriptions, because we want to see as many of these fights as what we can. And, I don't really want to get into a thing of which broadcaster's the best, who's delivering the most. If you were going to pick one subscription, what's it going to be? But not naming any names, but I do think there are certain channels where you can get a bit more bang for your buck than others. So Sam Eggington is going to fight a guy called Abbas Barao. That's the Channel 5. That's this Friday. So Sam Eggington's come back into the mix. He was a decent fighter. Is a decent fighter, I should say, and he was a popular guy. He was a matchroom fighter that was really being brought on, I think, before the DAZN deal come in for Eddie Hearn and matchroom, and because Hearn's sort of his attention was drawn elsewhere whenever that move happened, wasn't it? And he was in America a lot, and he was trying to build up the channel and stuff, and now there's more time being spent in the UK, which is really good to see, because obviously there was the COVID thing and all in between that, and then we've had a few years of Sky's come in with Boxer. We've had the Saudi things happen, so the landscape in British boxing has changed quite a bit. But it's good to see Sam Eggington sort of as a token of that golden age, or it certainly seems like a golden age looking back now, but he would have featured on quite a few of those cards. You had like him, Sam Eggington, and Ted Cheeseman, and guys like this who I wasn't overly invested in, but I would have watched a few of their fights, and these guys were good operators, they were good fighters, and I think then there was sort of a standard of quality right down the cards. Even if you were watching some of the sort of lesser fights, you had guys like this in there who were worth watching, because obviously a lot of boxing cards, it's like, oh, well, there's your headline fight, and the rest of them it's just like but Eggington sort of harkens back to that that golden era. Amanda Serrano versus Nina Mikey. That's on Saturday. Serrano, good fighter. Yeah, I'm going to watch both of the Katie Taylor fights, obviously. Um, yeah, I think she gave Katie Taylor two really good fights. So um, she's a good fighter. I'm sure she's got plenty left in the tank. Well, she might be her right age. Not too sure who Nina Mikey is, but we're going to find out. Stephen Butler versus Steve Rose. Steve Rose, he fought Golovkin, didn't he? And he's on the record of another one of these super middleweight fighters that's being talked about now recently. Um, whose name escapes me. Yeah, March 8th, we have Joshua Ngannou. You know, that's going to be great. That's available on DAZN and TNT Sports. It's out in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Yes, that'll be great. Great big night, big event. You know, there's a lot of criers and complainers out there. Um, it's not this, it's not this, what's this MMA? This isn't boxing. Hey man, forget it. This is a big fight. This is a big event. We're going to enjoy this. You don't have to stay up to 6 a.m. in order to watch it. You know, no matter what way you look at it, this is a big event. This is something worth watching. So be grateful. Where is the gratitude, you know? Yeah. Where are we here? So look, there's a few more guys coming up. Oh, this is interesting. Now, Saturday 16th. So the following Saturday, William Zepeda fights Maxi Hughes. I like Maxi Hughes a lot. Good fighter. You could well argue that he won that fight against Kambosos. Really like Kambosos too, actually, as it goes. But like Maxi Hughes won that fight. I see he does a little bit on YouTube there. He comes on and he talks and stuff, and seems like a real nice guy, and he talks quite well. And the things that he talks about is quite interesting because obviously he has, you know, the inside game. You know, being a professional boxer. And, yeah, it's quite interesting to check out. So yeah, I'll definitely be tuning in for that one. That one's on DAZN too. Chris Burke versus Ashley Lane. That's down at bantamweights for the British bantamweight title. I check that out. That one's on TNT. Warren's always got his hand in. Never count Frank Warren out. He's in there. And what did you call Frank Warren's son? Now he's got a couple of sons. You got Francis Warren, don't you? And obviously he's just a picture of his dad. Francis Warren is all cool. Did you have the other guy, George Warren? He's something else, man. You have to rate him, like, because you know he just does his own thing. I like his style. I like that guy's style. So like Dalton Smith versus Jose Cepeda. So that's another Cepeda. Obviously that name rings a bell. I'm not entirely sure what the crack is there with Cepeda, but that's a respectable name. Let's just go out on a limb with that one. And Dalton Smith has looked promising. He looks to be a good fighter. I think Dalton Smith's out of Sheffield. I'm not sure if he's training the Winkel Bank gym. Best of luck to him the wall the same. Yeah, I mean he's at that level of an Eggington or a Cheeseman would have been, and he has the opportunity to go beyond that. So let's see what he does against Jose Cepeda. March 29th then, which is a Friday night, we have Oscar Valdez versus Liam Wilson. Not too sure who Liam Wilson is. Sounds like a golfer, but Valdez is a good fighter. You know, obviously come up against Shakur Stevenson. It was always going to be a hard fight. You know what? That was a good fight. Stevenson comes in for a bit of criticism. People say, well, he's kind of boring and stuff. He has had a few lackluster performances where he's just very much been on the defensive. And you know, you can't come out and have a stunning performance every single fight that you fight. And he's one of these fighters that when he looks good, he is phenomenal. And when he looks bad, then people go, oh well, he's terrible. Oh, that's awful. Well, so Valdez is a good fighter. That'll be worth watching. And then we have, guys, we got a lot of good stuff coming up here, you know. March 30th, right? Tim Tszyu, right? Son of Costa versus Keith Thurman. That's going to be great. Again, we can come out with the naysaying and we say, oh, well, Keith Thurman's washed, he's old, and now he's fighting a weight up Tim Zoo, he's no good. It's just it's no, actually, he's come along and proven himself. And Thurman is still a big name. That's box office stuff. It's it's a treat. It's a treat, man. Then we have Mahmoud Char versus Kubrat Pulev. Now I have to wonder, is that a different Char from Manuel Char? We will find out. Arsene Ghulam Marian. Mind Arsene Wenger. Wenger or Wenger? Arsene Wenger. He was amazing. The days of him and Fergie, the Invincibles, and then United came back into it. Those were the glory days, weren't they, of football? Now you can just buy your way to a few Champions League titles and a few Premier League wins. Yeah, so thank God Man United have this new investor. Hopefully we'll have some luck. Sunday, March 31st. This is a March we have a good month ahead of us, guys. Fabio Wardley versus Fraser Clark. That's going to be a really good fight. I really like Fabio Wardley. I really like him. I like the way he talks, I like the way he expresses himself. I like the way he fights. It's an interesting story. No real amateur background. Did a bit of white collar boxing, and obviously has adapted and taken to the sport very well. Fraser Clark, very good amateur. He talks well too. This will be his first real challenge. We'll get to see what Fraser Clark's made of. My money's on Fabio Wardley for that fight. Early prediction. Jordan Gins, Alpha Barrett then on April 13th, which will be a good one. Jordan Gill obviously had the good win against Michael Conlan. Obviously I didn't want to see that. We didn't want to see that. But that's what happened. And he seems like a good guy, as does Alpha Barrett. Interesting wee undercard in that as well. I've watched the press conference and it seems like there's a few good young up and coming fighters, and there's some women's boxing and stuff on it as well. It'll be worth watching. Well, I'll certainly watch it. That one's on the zone. Up after that is Jessica McCaskill, good fighter, good to watch. I like to watch her versus Ivana Habazin. Ivana. April 20th, Saturday the 20th, Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. Come on, guys, we're being spoiled here. We're being spoiled. The following Saturday, Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall. Look, that Haney Garcia fight it's blockbuster. It's two big names. It's gonna be a big event. The build up will be great. The fight itself could be really good because if Ryan Garcia applies himself, gets in there with the right attitude, and he really, really wants this. He's not coming in just with his big name just to sort of cash out. And he is a very skilled fighter, but we have yet to see him. He has had limited success against higher level opposition. And Devin Haney is certainly a high level operator. But I would really like to see Garcia come out and make a statement. Even in losing, he could come away where people go, respect Ryan Garcia. We want to see him again. Yeah. Because as boxing fans, we're fickle creatures. If he comes in with one more bad performance, sorry mate, you're out of the game, Garcia. So then we have Taylor Catterall. I mean, that one speaks for itself. That's April 27th. That's going to be great. 2 weeks later, we have Lomachenko Lomanland versus George Kambosos. Brilliant. That's gonna be great. I mean, obviously you would have to favour Lomachenko there. He's getting on in years. If Kambosos really comes out and puts on his best performance, so it could be interesting. Because the Teofimo Lopez win was great. He really fought well. Obviously he's not quite on the level of some of these guys in terms of talent and sort of sheer ability, but it's his intangibles, and if they are fired up and engaged, then we see a good fighter. and it's a good thing to see too, because you like to see fighters like that who aren't just getting by on being, you know, a virtuoso sort of fighter. This is a guy that, you know, has to push himself to the extreme, and it's his determination, it's his will to win, you know, it's his grit that gets him over the line. And you know what, he's a good talker too, Kambosos. It'll be interesting to see what way he comes out. Will he be a little bit more respectful, or will he be trash talking all the way, man? Um, yeah, that'll be good to see. And there we have it then, May 18th, just to cap it off, guys. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. And that one's happened right across the board, according to the information that I have been given. DAZN, TNT Sports, and Sky Sports. That's in Saudi. Guys, let's keep the faith with that one. There's going to be a lot of conjecture. There's going to be a lot of speculation. There's going to be a lot of talk when that one's coming up. And we'll be saying, oh, Tyson Fury did this and Tyson Fury did that. And, you know, Usyk, of course, is the golden boy. Can't do anything wrong. Yeah, because Usyk is not a character that really you can attack, because he hasn't really, he does everything right. He's fought all the big names, he's beat them all. He's a likable guy, you know. Fury's a little bit different from that. But here, that's all part of the crack too, isn't it? Let's just hope the fight happens. Let's just hope it happens. And do you know what? Coming off the back of that great schedule there, there could be a lot of talk, you know, and people don't believe it's going to happen, and no, we're not getting our hopes up. And then all of a sudden, you see them walking towards the ring, and it's beautiful. So look, guys, let's hope all of that comes to fruition. And I'm gonna just turn off here, and then I'm gonna come right back as soon as I get another coffee and another cigarette. And I've even got an apple and an orange on the go here. I don't know how. No, I might have to eat those before I do the next video. But yeah, basically, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna do the Carl Frampton career review. Obviously, I can only do this with certain boxers that I was big fans of and that I've seen all of the fights of. But yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. Like I said, I'm a big fan, so I can I can draw on my fandom, hopefully, and produce something that might be worth watching. So anyway, folks, like, have a lovely Monday afternoon, and I will see you all later. Belfast Boxing and Blues. Bye.